Hi, lovely people. Going live to share because on my walk today, wow, so much download. It was just, information was just, you say, the field pouring in. So when you enter the field or when you're in line with yourself, you can tap into everything because that is you. You are the actual field, the existence itself. Anyway, so as controversial as is, as I say, it's putting some disclaimer here. This is information for those that are ready to hear. This is from the quantum field. This is a perspective, perception, because that's all that exists really. A higher perspective and perception of why this is playing out. Because if you understand reality, there is no such thing. You are the field itself. You are everything that you perceive is actually the real you. You are this perception, and you manifest a form in a perception of a person to play out cycles, to play out, because there's only the mind of God that exists. There's only mind, as they say, quantum field mind, universal mind, whatever source, this infinite field. So whatever games that the mind has played before as source, the quantum field, that didn't resolve, that didn't see it in the higher perception or perspective, they loop. It keeps coming around again for you to see it from the highest perspective and perception, to be able to change it. So to end that cycle, to stop repeating the same cycle. You see, this is just what happens. So you'll keep otherwise manifesting another character and repeating the same scenario over and over again. So if you look at it, most of you awake have tapped into this field. So you'll know there's a lot of collective stories playing out. And they're connected to other stories as consciousness you've played on other planets, other lives, ancestry, whatever. It's in your DNA, literally. So, and as you know, if you know where your DNA comes from, then it makes a lot of sense, right? So this is related to the Anunnaki, all right? Which most people, well, almost everybody, depends on the amount of genetics they carry, but everyone has Anunnaki DNA, because otherwise you'd still be Homo erectus. You wouldn't be a Homo sapien. So you are carrying Anunnaki DNA. Now, to the extent you are carrying it, and to the extent you woke up and solved the cycle. Now, there's many cycles that have been playing out, as you see in the collective consciousness. This cycle is to do with the destruction of the planet, of the climate, of nature, let's put it. Really, that's what it's about. It's a destruction of nature. So on my walk today, this is all coming in. So if you understand and you tap into the self, that you are not the character, you never were. You are not the person, the character. But if you are constantly tapping into the thoughts, which are those loops, the cycle, and there's such a vortex going, you don't realize that you're not the actual person you're observing. The person is in your reality, which is everything you can perceive, not what you can't perceive. You assume there's a world out there, what you actually visually can perceive. So the sky, the house, wherever you are, whatever your perception is, everything, the actual reality is you. Everything in it is you. You have created it. You are it. You're not the person, as you realize when you leave the body. You are watching the body. You were never in a body. You are observing the body, everything. So everything is you. The tree, the sky, the sea, the plant, the everything. You have manifested it all, created it all. It is you. It's made of your consciousness, as they say, the gurus say, your essence, right? So this is where the problem stems from. Those, at the time, whatever life you played, the Anunnaki is one of them. When they came to this planet, they came to this planet, as most people know now, to mine gold, because they had done that to their planet. They had extracted it. They were out of balance with themselves, which is actual reality. Everything in reality is you. This is where the mistake is. And if you're not awakened, you're not in line with yourself, you are then going to be out of balance with nature, with all that is, which is you. So if you are staying in the real self, you will realize that everything is you, and you'll be in harmony and balance with everything, because you're not taking a perspective as I am this. No, I'm all of it. I'm watching the human everything. Then you actually are also then tapping into all the information and the actual field and whatever. So obviously they weren't. So the Anunnaki were out of balance with themselves as source, with all that is, because they were at a lower evolution themselves back then. So they messed up their planet as well, extraction, greed, whatever, and destroyed their, so perceived, that's what I'm saying, it's perception that they've destroyed their planet, because they just, as I say, weren't obviously in balance with themselves, because they would realize it's just a perception, because you are everything, and nature will sort itself out. Anyway, but if you're not in line with yourself, you assume you are this and that is separate to you. Now, I've got to fix it. So apparently, in their perception, they created an experience that they messed up their planet and needed gold as well. This is what is happening here. And wanted to go and spray it as well to help their atmosphere, right? To cool off their planet. So they came here to mine gold. And as we know, fiddled with the human... Homo erectus, da-da-da-da-da. So, created Homo sapien. So, every little Homo sapien running around her has Anunnaki DNA. In your genes is that story. You see, you are carrying that in your memory. This is why it is playing out again in the human cycle, because it wasn't seen at higher perception and perspective. They messed up their planet. They did, they evolved. So, this is why they came here. So, this is why the mind, source, what it does is manifest a scenario, a planet again, and a body and a human, and we recycle that story, because that's what it does. It comes through here, comes through consciousness again. So you are hopefully able then to see it and realize who you are and change the narrative, you see. So then everything is, as a guru will tell you, you never see anything as a problem, because as you say it, as you speak it, as you declare it to be so, because you are the actual reality. So you just keep manifesting your same cycle, same problem, and go to the next planet, and, keep destroying yourself and destroying yourself and destroying the planet and another planet. So this is what's playing out. Those that did not realize this in their consciousness have not woken up to, I am the reality. I'm not in it. I am the reality. And when I tap in, pay attention, you will realize, and then you can actually feel it, and you can perceive then from that perspective and understand everything is you, and you'll see the cycles as natural. There's nothing wrong. This is what humans are doing again. Seeing the cycle, if you'll see it as a planet, it all changes. This is how things work. You can go through history and you'll see there's never been any same vegetation here, animals. We've had dinosaurs and different kinds of plants, and they went off. We've had this species, and we've had the Sahara was a jungle. It was green, lush. There's dinosaurs. There's anyone will tell you. Any scientist will know the fact that there has been so many cycles and changes on the planet, tectonic movements. There were different... Because this is part of the story. It changes all the time. Everything changes. There's nothing wrong with change. It is you. You are part of it. So this is the problem. You see it, oh my gosh, because now everything has been this way and the climate has been this way. There's a problem when it changes. You see, you're seeing it from a lower perspective because you're not realizing it's you and there's nothing wrong. It all changes. This is just part of the game. Everything evolves and changes. There's not one species on this planet that was ever been the same from day one. There's been lots of different life that's come and gone on this planet in human forms, different species, different plants, different everything. Just, it's a fact. Science will even tell you that, as I say. And now when it's changing again, in the old days, people realized and they adapted with it. You see the change coming, the planet's cycling again. Okay, it's evolving, changing. The cycles move through different parts, and you adapt to it. So then you start, okay, my climate is changing. I need to start planting citrus because now where I've lived, it's changed. So you adapt your behavior, your crops, your everything to match the changes. You don't perceive it as a negative thing, something wrong, because you are creating your reality, and try and force it, stop it from changing. No, you can't do that. You must stay the same temperature. You can't tell a planet, because it's not going to work as part of you. It's playing planet. Not to move its tectonic plates and to change its shape and not to change its climate and not, because it just has. It's what I'm saying. It's It's like a bumblebee telling the weather, no, you can't rain because I'm a bee. You know what I mean? Everything is at purpose here. Nature is diverse for a reason. Everything works in harmony. There's not like only one type of tree on the planet. Everything is in balance. And they all adapt and change. So when we see change, no, it can't change, we try and fix it. That plant can't be here because it wasn't here before. You see, instead of allowing nature to change and adapt itself, its own plants, its own everything will adapt itself to the change. Humans think, because they think they're separate, they think they're a person, what they're doing is running the program. You've got to understand what your thoughts, whatever you're perceiving, is only a loop that is going through, that is unresolved. So those that are stuck on this climate story are the ones that need to themselves, their consciousness. This is a pattern in a loop they have not understood, and they are repeating it. As the divine, as actual existence itself, you're just going to recreate the same as you did before. You see, so you say, oh my gosh, no, the planet's changing, it can't change. It's something wrong, we've got to stop doing this. So what it's showing you is that you are out of balance, first of all, with yourself, which is true, out of alignment with yourself, because you are all of it, everything. You're not in the dream, you're not in this perception, in this experience. You are perceiving it. Everything in it, you have created it. And the stories, the loops that are there, the thoughts are the things that you need to work out, as the Guru will say. So if you know you are the divine itself, creation itself, everything is perfect and divine. And if you hold that vision and perception and perspective, everything's balanced, you know the plants will be the plant and everything, exactly, that's how it does. The tree will find the sun and change, and that plant dies off and this one changes. This is how it just works. The animals adapt or evolve or become extinct. That's exactly nature. There's nothing that's ever been the same on this planet. So there's species that will come and go, change, evolve, move off. New ones will appear. That's just how it works. New plants appear. Just have a look. Different parts of the planet change, even their climate, their vegetation changes. As you're seeing, the desert, which was once a jungle, is now becoming a jungle again. It's no more desert. That's normal. So what it is for those that are frightened or have a problem with this is to realize I am out of touch with myself. You see, I am not in balance with myself. I'm in denial of myself, first of all. I'm in denial that I am all of it. I am source. I am actually the planet, the trees, everything. And this is what's happening. And if I now perceive it as all is well, nothing is wrong, everything is perfect, exactly, because it's all me, I hold that vision and perspective and perception, guess what? Everything will be. It will all balance itself out. The plants, the trees, everything will adapt and change, and it will be fine. I need to adapt. I go with it as well. I adapt and change. If my country now used to grow plums and this and that, and it doesn't work because the climate's changed, I adapt, which is good for the soil, change the entire crops or change the whole thing that I could do on my planet or in my country. Simple. This is what the Atlanteans realized. Those that realized it wasn't a problem, that left North, let's say America, when it was being bombarded with comets, and moved to South America, to like Peru, knowing there was going to be a rise in sea levels, being attuned into themselves, as all that is, could perceive these things were going to happen, and moved up there and started growing crops in certain geometric patterns, energy patterns, because they knew it would work. They knew the climate wasn't exactly great at that height to grow things, but they understood nature. They were in tune with themselves and energy, so did it in such a way that it would work. And they had no problem. They had, ask anyone, the church has records, the Catholic Church has records when they arrived there of great agriculture. I mean, abundant society, harmony, peace, everything. That's what humanity needs, you see. So this story is playing out in the collective minds of a few. The same problem which they tried to do then, because it's in the actual DNA. Because they're not in tune with themselves, they haven't solved this within themselves in their consciousness, so they don't have to keep doing it, because they did it before. The Greys did the same thing. Anunnaki genes and perceived it from a lower consciousness. Oh my gosh, there's something wrong. We need to fix our planet. We need to, and try it like this, try to control. We get, instead of spraying poisons and chemtrails, and stop poisoning yourself. Basically, the message is you're out of touch with yourself. So instead of trying to control yourself out there, nature, plants, and poisoning yourself, chemicals, it's just a reflection. You see, it's a consciousness. You're putting poisons in your body, pharmaceuticals and poisons. You are doing this, you're poisoning yourself. That's what it's showing. You're poisoning nature. You are poisoning yourself by putting chemicals and rubbish in your food and in your pharmaceuticals and things. It's reflecting, because this is a conscious, it's consciousness. Reality is created from thought, which runs through the loop, and with the consciousness believing it and focus on it, it appears. Everything is an appearance. This is really what it is. So the whole idea is to actually wake up and realize, I am the reality. Then you will have no worries. You won't fear, no fret. You won't see anything as wrong. You will realize you are in full control and there's nothing wrong, which any guru will tell you. You never perceive anything as wrong, as bad. You perceive it all as perfect harmony and balance. You will then be in harmony and balance with entire creation, reality, yourself. That is you. And then your external reality will reflect that. Then you won't have to go off like the Greys did and destroy yourselves and go and reincarnate. You will create this. That's just how it works. You will create another body, and you will come back as the next civilization on Earth or another planet and go through the same rigmarole again, you see, because your consciousness will keep recycling it, because it's a mind. It goes in cycles, as you notice. This is why people couldn't understand why history repeats itself. The war is the same thing, because they keep focusing on it. And instead of celebrating peace, we keep celebrating wars and past wars, and we get... Sorry. Oh my goodness. So the whole thing is to realize what you are. So it is showing you, I am out of balance with myself. And if you understand what you are, then the problem, it will immediately be fixed. I am all of it. I am not a human. Brings you back into balance with yourself, and then able to, first of all, perceive this information. You see, because now you're in alignment with yourself as reality itself, the existence itself. And as the gurus say, no problem. It reveals itself and you won't have a problem. You see, you bring everything back into balance. But if you as a human saying, something's wrong, I've got to fix it, poison it, spray it, change it, force it, and if you approach anything, it's energy, as they know. What you put out is what you get back. If you approach anything with it's wrong, it's fear, it's a problem, reality reflects it to you, because that thought goes out, appearances. You are creating the actual reality. So you will create a cycle where it is a wrong, there is a problem. You are dooming yourself to destruction, as the Greys are happy to come here and tell you that. And this is what the Anunnaki did. So those that are carrying a lot of Anunnaki DNA and that didn't resolve this in their consciousness in other, let's say, lives you have circled through. This is all each consciousness is doing. Everything it circles through is something that was experienced as the consciousness, as source, but not from an awakened, enlightened point of view, that you didn't wake up and realize that you were creating your own. So you keep destroying yourself and destroying yourself and destroying another planet. Oh, shit. And then you will keep creating that experience at another planet and another body, and you will be born as whatever, who cares? And there we are. And you will go through it again in order for you to, oh, wow, you see, to claim your actual reality, truth, and power. So first of all, you're in denial of what you are, who you are. You're out of out of balance with yourself. But that's what people say. They're out of balance with themselves. They're looking at this. No, it's everything. You see, you are poisoning yourselves. You're poisoning. So pharmaceuticals and drugs, and some of them are warning signs, labels, toxins. I mean, death is some of the side effects. So it's being reflected to you. You see what you are doing to yourself, because you are creating this avatar as a point of experience, in order to play this game out. So you create a body or a form, which is your point of perception in this game illusion. So it'll just save a lot of suffering. So this is what humans are doing. You're seeing it so clearly. Something's wrong, because change. So change is wrong. Change is never wrong. It's constant, as I'll always tell you. It has gone on. Just please have a look at your own records, archaeology, anything. It's a definite. It changes. The land has changed, shape has changed, water levels changed, climate's changed, plenty times, different parts of the world. Animals have come and gone, species have come and gone. This is it. There's nothing wrong. So stop trying to force it, change it, manipulate it. This is all that has to be seen. Understand why. Because you are the one who's creating the story. So if you say there's a problem and keep coming at it from that attitude, with fear, with something's wrong, with this is the energy that you are creating. So the experience you can only get from it will be a negative or fear or something. You see, that's what happened to them. So you are creating as the creator, as the existence itself. Do you understand? Everything in it, you are creating it. It will just bend to your perception. The whole idea is to wake up and realize I am the reality, and then it will reveal itself, and the answers reveal itself, and the solutions reveal themselves. So this all came in today, an understanding of why they're doing it. A lot more, but I'm tired. Sorry, I've been for a walk. So I'm sharing this why, because once it's downloaded into the field, it is now, and I've shared it and spoken it out, it's now in the collective consciousness, it's in the quantum field for those that are ready and are able to tap into it. So the solution is now, and the understanding and solution now is being downloaded into the field for others to be able to perceive it, to be able to pick it up, you see. So their minds are able to tap into this information and understanding or knowledge. There we are. So it's being shared. Why? So it's being put into the field. So the solution is out there. So the minds that are ready in levels, it's also those that are ready to look at themselves. You see, if you are not, there's no self inner reflection going on, and you're not reflecting that you have a problem with change. Look in your life where you do not like change. You resist any change. You think you can try and force it or stop it. You see, because you believe in you're the character, so you're trying to stop any change. Look at where you're very ancestral, your patterns, you'll see your family and habits have been, my mother did this, my grand, we do it like this because we've done it for centuries. England is a great example of that. Wow. So the rulers and people of England are very stuck in huge, been repeating the same pattern, cycles, behavior for centuries. No change. The same thing, we do it like this, so we always do it like this, and you see, stuck in the decades ago. So this is a lack of inner reflection and not questioning why we do things. First of all, you're not the character, and you repeat and repeat and repeat. We always do it like that, and this is, and listening to the mind, all you're doing is whatever is in the field is only learnt behavior, because there's no actual reality. So it's thoughts there's no truth. They are thoughts, and they're just a different frequencies, perceptions, and perspectives, how out of alignment they are from the truth or not. So it's just patterns. It's just learned behavior. Because see, my mother did this, and this is how we do it. And, because my great-grandfather, and, this is how we do every year. We do this, and we eat that. And you see, where it's not stuck in, you are really, very repeat, loop, pattern behavior. Because you are so identified with the actual... because obviously then, as I say, you are so focused on the mind, on the thoughts, you're in that loop pattern, and you just keep replaying the same behavior, the same pattern. You're not stepping out of it and observing it because you are the reality. So if you stop listening to the mind and understand, all you are doing when you're hearing thoughts is the collective consciousness. You see, you're understanding these are these loops and fields that you can pick up to, that are going on. This is how you can tap into them and understand what's happening. This is the collective story going, and you can tune into it. But if you tune out of it, and you stay as yourself, as the observer, of the body and everything, then you will understand and know it. You see, and you won't fear yourself, because you are the reality. And you are in complete control of the reality. Your perception and perspective will shift the entire reality. And then you will not recreate an experience of destroying yourself and your planet and your earth again and again, which Mars did, which Maldek did, which the Sun did, so many of these planets, and the one which became the asteroid belt. So, you see, so this is why, as the eternal source, the souls keep playing the same cycles, you can see, and why a lot of humans are remembering lives, and as they wake up, the DNA, these loops of the games played are being highlighted. There's many, as I say. But if we need to step out of the blah, blah, blah. If you know you're not the person, there's nothing in the body. So you realize what the mind is playing is only whatever has been fed into it. It just regurgitates the same nonsense over and over and over. So everybody, all this noise out there is just whatever my mother told me, whichever I read in a book and somebody else told me, which is, as I learned to see. That's why you keep repeating the same things. You need to stop that, pull the plug out, so it can drain all the... So you don't keep repeating the same loops, and step out of it. I'm not the person. I'm not the thoughts. There we are. Everything is divine and perfect. Everything is you. There never was anything wrong. That perception and perspective will create the fact that there is nothing wrong. And we stop trying to interfere with nature. You'll see it all the time. Oh my gosh, these birds have appeared now, and they shouldn't be here. And now there were ash trees here, we want to plant. Nature is not, they're going to plant all ash trees and no other tree. Nature is diverse. Take a look around. There are not one human that's alike. There's not one anything. There's plants. There's such a diversity for a reason. So now when things change, we can't have those birds because they weren't here, so we got to get rid of them now. But nature has adapted to the change. So now when nature's adapted, you try and change it back to 100 years ago. No, we've got to get rid of all these species because they don't belong here, because they weren't here before. You see where the problem comes in. Change is a problem. Instead of leaving it alone, okay, nature sorts itself out, a new species comes and it wipes out the old species. Okay, there we are, it's done. So nature has already adapted to the new species. Now humans will come along and try and get rid of them and change it back again. You see, not because you say, and you are not in line with yourself as everything. You are not the person. And if you step out of the self, then you will realize, I'm observing the person and everything else, and you can see the person for the truth. You can see the patterns. Know thyself is the word. You can see the patterns of the body. Why you came here, why you created this body, is to not to keep repeating them. But my great-great-great-great-grandmother does this, so we eat this, and we do this, and we... see, the whole idea is to realize, no, I'm not any of it. I am all of it. And when I'm in touch with myself as all of it, I'm in balance. Everything comes back into harmony and into alignment, into balance. I know I'm everything. I work, that's why I say, you will adapt with it, not against nature. As those that survived Atlantis figured out, they left there because they knew, and adapted and survived. That's why there's still humans here. All right, let's go to higher ground. We'll go to South America, and we're going to start planting crops. And we adapted species as well to, That's it. You change with it. You don't try and force it to stop and force and not allow it to change, because you have no power over the planet in the first place. You see? And don't add more poison to it. We don't try and poison things. We got to stop poisoning ourselves, which is nature. Any poisons and chemicals and anything, and trying to and stop the change. Allow it to, because it is you. So allow those species to evolve, change. Some will die out, as you've seen in just archaeology will tell you, new ones will appear, da da da. Same with humans. If otherwise, you would still look like that first ape that walked around on the planet if you were against change. you would you would still be running around mostly hairy, and upright and no, yeah. So there we are. Or let everything, because it's you, evolve and change. Let it come into balance by itself if we try. You see, if we understand I am it, we won't fear the change. So this is what they are. Why it's coming out there is for those humans to see this, you see. This is why those forms created, and it's their puzzle. They are the ones, anyone that has a big issue with climate change, this is exactly why it is there. It's in their consciousness, they have not realized. You see, no, they're out of balance with themselves as the reality. There we are. And it's for them to perceive it from a higher perspective and not repeat the pattern they did on the previous planet and the previous planet experience they created, you see. So yeah, this is what the Anunnaki did, the Greys did. So it's those genetics, all these genetic markers, so-called in the dream, kick off. And it's a blueprint of this is, so you've put that, what they call the blueprint, it's programmed into the so-called avatar, which doesn't exist. There's no real body. If you pay attention, you won't find a body. It's holographic. There's no real DNA, physical body, but it's say for the story, in the story, it's your DNA that carries it, right? So the blueprint is exactly what you came here, not to repeat, is to see, those patterns, that right, and to realize I am the reality and step out of the patterns and programs. So each one has a different patterns. Yeah, if you want to, you would express it as karmic patterns, but it's written into the DNA structure in the story, but it's actually not. It's actually energetic. It's those so-called the mind-body, because there's no physical body here. So it's the mind, what I call the mind-body construct, which you would perceive as the chakras, the causal, all the different colors, emotional, mental. That's it. Those are just the stories. It's like a geometric pattern. It's light codes. You see it as geometry. People will see it however you tap, whatever level you're tapping into it, you're going to see it. And that's the stories of the loops, as they tell you, step out the loop. First of all, the loop doesn't have a power when you realize I'm not the character. Then you stop listening to the blah, 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 blah. Then because you realize thoughts are only learnt because there's no real reality. But you don't have to listen to them. It's regurgitated, learnt nonsense because there's no actual fact. Is to understand I'm the creator of the reality. Knowledge is just man-made, invented, whatever, stories. It's just stories, absolute. So it's to realize why these stories are playing out again, you see. And then you can stop yourselves from recreating them and recreating the unpleasant experience, if you want to say, of destroying yourselves on a planet and another one and another one and another one. There we are. Anyway, so this is shared, and so it can go into the field. It's downloaded, it's now shared, so it is now accessible to the collective consciousness. So hopefully, there we are. It's up there for those that are ready to receive it, ready to also, because it takes looking, you see. If you believe the thoughts and that you're the physical body, you're not. How are you going to understand? It's waking up. It's looking at the patterns. It's to be able to step back and examine this and the programs it's running and patterns, and then you will realize as well that you're not it in the first place. You're not a thought. That's for sure. You're perceiving them though. And then when you do, you can perceive all these stories and why they're playing out and the different scenarios on the planet. So what the consciousness, really it's as they say, waking up to the fact that I am the reality, the entire reality itself. And with my thoughts, perspective, if you believe the thought and put energy into it and, believe you are, it manifests. You are creating your own story. So I say, people don't realize they're creating their own, because they know what it's energy, what you give off. Yeah. So we put in everything's perfect and divine, as any enlightened being will tell you. There is no problem. Everything is absolutely perfect, divine, whole, complete. That is seeing it from the highest. That's when you're complete alignment and understanding what is, and you see the actual structure of it. Nothing is wrong, because you are the creator of it. You see, they'll tell you there's no, and then everything comes to an end. All these, and you can start a whole new perception or not, but you won't be stuck in that cycle of experience. That's what I'm saying. It's an experience you are of a body and all this thing going on, which humans were stuck in for I don't know how long, repeating the same cycles, experiences of living and all these things they went through. Maybe they should quit Veterans Day and celebrate Peace Day. That would be more constructive, to remember and focus on peace. And how many days? Wow, peace! We're going to celebrate peace on earth, and instead of and then we'll understand. Well, we're not putting our focus, on the same thing. We're not keeping repeating it. Yeah, but anyway, there we are. It is. But it's showing you are poisoning it's reflecting to you what you are doing to yourself. You are poisoning yourself. You are fighting yourself. You are out of alignment with yourself as reality. Not I'm out of alignment with nature. You are it. You are not the person. You are everything that is perceived. You see, you've created the person and the planet and the whole experience. That's it. So you are the creator of it. You're not in it. And then the whole problem comes to an end. But the biggest thing you see playing out is people saying, oh, something wrong. You see, anything that changes. This squirrel shouldn't be here. Oh, we got to kill them all now because they have taken over from that other species. But that's nature. It's already adapted. And now you're going to go screw things up and now want to, kill them. Nature sort of suffered. And what? Let it sort itself out. And when you trust in it as yourself and you realize I am it, it will do that. Everything will be perfect. Will come into harmony and balance. And this is what you are actually trying. Your whole purpose of being alive, of being in a human experience in a human body or having experience as a soul. This is your whole purpose, to wake up, to realize I am it. All is perfect, all is divine. When you are in that, you are in complete alignment with yourself as reality, and reality will reflect that. There we are. That's it. That's all that you are, doing here, is to stop perpetuating that loop. You see, and realize I am it, all of it, it's perfect. And allow each, then you won't try and interfere. You won't fear it. You will allow each thing as it is. The tree will adapt. The squirrel will adapt to the change. Same with you. Will adapt to the change on the planet, all of nature. You have never changed it as a little human. You cannot change it. These cycles have gone on. The planets, the changes have gone on. That's it. Because it's part of it. You have changed with it as well. As humans have evolved, thank goodness, compared to where they were just a few hundred years ago. Quite something else. So yes, it's what I'm saying. I mean, we must stop fighting change. Change with it. Stop seeing yourself as separate as it. Adapt your crops, your climate, your business, your food growing, whatever, your animals to the change of where you are. So then you have to change what kind of sheep you have if your climate changes to a dry climate. You can't, it's simple. Simple. There we are. So anyway, that came down to share whether, it doesn't matter what people think of it, as I'm saying, because it's just a program, there's no people. So those stuck in a cycle, there's no self-reflection, and not wanting to sit quietly and allow that information or solution in. Yeah. You see, if you're seeing things for a problem, then you're going to, if you seeing it as, you'll only see it as your perception. That's what I'm saying. They're stuck in a loop. This is that they don't realize. So if you see it as a problem, you're looking for a solution for a problem. That's what you're going to create. You're going to create more problems and more solution, more problem. That's it. But there is no problem. Because as the creator, you declare all is well, all is perfect, all is divine. I am all of it. And if you hold that, and it really is true, then all of it will come into perfect harmony and balance. Nature, planet, everything. You see? No negative experiences. You're not projecting or manifesting or creating something is wrong and I've got to fix it. And there's nothing to fix. Everything is perfect and divine. That is what will then come into alignment, and there we are. Be created, and that cycle will be broken. There we are. So you can have change, but it can be in a positive way without any destruction, without any negative experience. You see, because you're not claiming it to be any negative or problem or anything wrong. Anyway, there we are. The only thing here was, that's it. The download was done, it's shared, it's put into the field, and that's all that needs to be done here. And the rest, as I say, it's perfect. You see that, you know that. Whether others do, whether others choose to align to that, if it's their thing to wake up, they will. But the information's in the quantum field now, for those that are ready to receive it, hear it, or understand it. There we are. That's all that needs to be done. It's irrelevant what anyone does with the information, as I say. It's in the field. It's for them to tune in and tap into themselves to download it or be able to perceive that information or that, understanding. All right. Thank you for listening. There we are. I shall upload it to YouTube, and it's out there. It's in the field anyway. That's all that matters. And those that will do what they do with it, and, there we are. Done. There's the noise. All right, lots of lovely people. This is all these downloads that came this morning when you are, as I say, out of the mind, and you just, resting as the self in alignment. It's lovely. And then it's such a lovely energy as well, because there's such an expansiveness, because there's no contraction. You're not trying to pretend you are a little thing, squeeze into a little body or a little thought, and there's a beautiful, expansive, relaxing energy, and you see. Then you are in harmony with everything, with yourself, which is everything. And it is. And trust that. You see. A thought in a mind has nothing. It's like someone's little mind, a thought, some program you've been learnt, thinks it knows better than the entire existence, the entire quantum field. My mind, my teacher, or some book I read now, is more intelligent than the entire reality itself. It's like so that's what I'm saying. If you believed any thought or whatever is understanding everything that is a thought, you come into this with nothing, is learnt. It's from before. So it's patterns and programs that if someone else has spewed out. There's no knowledge, there's nothing in that, you understand? And this is why the same experience was had on Earth over and over again, because, it was passed down to someone else's garbage, was regurgitated. You've been regurgitating the same loops and patterns over and over, and lessons and whatever information. But drop it all and let it all dissolve, and then the actual field itself, the existence itself, it's all out there, you know what I mean? It can be re-seen, changed. There we are. As they say, re-seen from a higher perception and perspective. Wonderful. Create a whole different reality. You don't need to repeat the same things over and over and over again. And then run around chasing your tail. That's what that snake eating its tail is. All right. So much love. Goodbye.